Built in the 1800s, the historic Jefferson Hotel in Jefferson, Texas is haunted as can be. Every once in a while, it's not uncommon for a guest or two to complain about hearing voices at night or feeling a hand grazed by their cheek while dozing off. The owner of the hotel is doing some remodeling and walks past a door that suddenly opens all by itself. He says that the door was securely shut and that he actually heard it unlock before it opened. The scary CCTV video does in fact show him turning around a second before the door opens, so his story indeed checks out, but that's not even the scariest moments caught on camera by him. This is way worse. Creepy video of the same hallway on a different night depicts a dark shadow passing over the green door at the far end, a room where most of the activity takes place besides this hall, and when it does so, the lamp turns off on its own. Considering a jilted bride once took her life here, and the spirits of countless children are known to play tricks, this bizarre shadow person could be any of the usual suspects. I believe this ghost video's real simply based on the hotel's legendary haunted status alone. With videos this creepy, it's a wonder anyone would want to stay here for long, unless they were purposefully trying to get scared. Two school custodians are standing in the middle of a creepy old boiler room. One of them is the supervisor, and he was called in after his coworker said that she saw objects moving around on their own. He records the situation for legal workplace reasons, and the two of them reluctantly investigate.
Alright, hang on, just wait.
I don't want to go back there.
Let me just take a look. Now, you say what happened now?
The door shut by itself. Itself, Dave.
Alright.
The supervisor doesn't see anything out of the ordinary, and he reassures his coworker that everything is okay. He encourages her to go deeper into the boiler room and get something that she needs, and that's when things go wrong.
Is there anybody back here? Go ahead.
No.
What's that? Oh my...
A metallic chair scrapes towards them on its own and they both fall back. I guess the supervisor could have pulled on a string, but I think the chair moves a farther distance than he would have been able to pull judging from where he was standing. This spooky midnight sighting is quickly becoming known as the ghost boy under the stairs. It could simply be a bug walking across the camera, but what's weird is how it seems to stay confined to the area under the steps. Then at 15 seconds, it reaches the farthest corner and vanishes. Take a look again and tell me if you think this is real or special effects. Even the person who uploaded this video says they didn't believe in the supernatural until seeing this at their job. Restaurant workers from Sansom Park in Texas think they've caught an authentic ghost sighting on CCTV video. A dark paranormal mist that exits the passenger side and goes into the building. I would say that this was an insect crawling across the camera, but watch closely and at 2 minutes and 4 seconds you'll see a flicker of lines across the screen moments before the ghost appears. EMF interference like this could be an indication of something paranormal. They felt this place was haunted for a long time and are finally excited to have proof. Tell me if you believe them. Take a look at this picture of Patty and Joe Martinez. Do you see anything wrong? Maybe if I circle it for you, it will help. This hideous creature over his shoulder looks like a dog at first, but its nose is too flat and pushed in, and the top row of human teeth form a snickering sneer. The yellow eyes are open as wide as possible, and there's a tiny pupil at the very bottom, meaning it is looking down at you. Photo experts have verified this picture is real, which is absolutely terrifying. After all, there's no reason for anything that scary to be anywhere near a wedding anniversary, especially behind you. A YouTuber named Tommy Case is in the basement of an abandoned house when his flashlight crosses over someone wearing an all black and white stretched out face mask. Tommy Case runs away, but soon he has to turn his flashlight back on if he ever hopes to find the exit. Instead, he finds the same person again, but this time he manages to escape without looking back. Since the person just stands there and never reaches out for him, I think this is almost definitely a skit. but a well done one all the same. Ryan Layton records what he says is a full-bodied apparition jumping over the table in his apartment. At 2 minutes, there is a loud noise, and some kind of pale, ghost-like figure appears in front of the camera. But is it paranormal or something else is the question. The webcam is low quality and skipping frames, so this could simply be somebody shining a flashlight directly at it to create the illusion of a ghost. Let me know what you make of this video, because to me it's kind of hard to tell if this video is supernatural or nothing special. A mother is mourning the loss of her child when a single white balloon floats over to her from his casket. Relief washes over her as she soon realizes this is almost definitely a sign of reassurance from her lost loved one. Look again and you'll see not only did this balloon start from her child's casket, it was also in front of a picture of him as well. It really is as if he is sending her a balloon to cheer her up and let her know that he still cares for her from the other side, perhaps even as a final gesture to help her let go. Britton Smith is hanging around her dorm room when she notices something is apparently laying in bed with her. An invisible force appears to be pressing up and down on the flowery design of her covers, right before her very eyes. I will admit that it's hard to tell if something is on top of the covers or simply underneath, in which case it could be anything and not necessarily paranormal. Britton Smith describes this as a ghost in her dorm room, but I'd like to know if you agree with her or not. A reporter from Huff Paranormal sets up a motion-activated camera under their bed, which they suspect is haunted. When they get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, they record the bed shaking. The only explanation I have is that an unseen person is shaking it from the other side. Other than that possibility, this is definitely paranormal. Moments later, a raspy, unseen voice confirms he's leaving. Listen to this part and tell me if you hear it, or if you hear it, say something else. A YouTuber named Joe Hall takes to the streets in search of the supposedly supernatural, black-eyed ghost children who come out at 3 a.m. This trek eventually turns into a long walk along the railroad tracks in the middle of the night. They are just about to give up when one of them spots a small piece of white fabric flapping in the bushes.
Oh my god, what is that thing?
We gotta get out of here, man.
That thing right there, you see it?
Yeah, well, why are we here?
Let's go, let's go.
From the shadows comes a person draped in a white gown, just like the legends say. However, I think there's probably a strong chance that this was one of their friends, because it pretty much looks and runs like a normal person in my opinion. It's following them for a while, but then it disappears at exactly 11 minutes and 3 seconds, which is strange, though it could be achieved with some simple editing. They reach their ride a minute later, and shortly before they peel off, this white piece of fabric flaps behind them. Maybe I was wrong about my earlier assumption about this being made up. Unfortunately, we never do get to see its face to tell if the eyes were fully black like the legend says, or not.
Alright, just like a quick check-in. Okay, let's see. Okay, it's doing it.
A TikTok video made by Kristen Parham has people wondering if she needs to call an exorcist or an electrician.
I'm not making this up, They're flickering again.
Some of the lights look brighter and flicker. It could be loose light bulbs rather than the spirit world, but the weird thing is sometimes they do this, sometimes they don't. If you are an electrician, then let us know in your professional opinion whether she's being dramatic or if the worst is yet to come. In 2007, a YouTuber named Ben Ems uploaded this video made by his friend, Levi, who is reciting some lines for a play when something appears in the window.
I wish you were here.
The resolution is good for a YouTube video that's over 13 years old, so I don't think it's computer effects, but I do think it's planned. This is the reflection of someone who is probably standing behind the camera, not behind Levi. The upper corner gets brighter when they turn on the light to make the reflection appear in the window. So while this video is creepy, I doubt it's as real as Ben claims. Not everybody in India is a believer of the spirit world. Varun Kati seeks to dispel the legends behind the most haunted places in his home country. One such debunking video of him exploring some spooky abandoned buildings in the woods left him scared but still somewhat skeptical. He goes exploring the abandoned buildings one by one, whistling and taunting for any spirits to make themselves known. Less than 30 seconds later, he gets a reminder as to why provoking the paranormal is a recipe for scary things in the woods caught on camera.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
A loud moan rings across the treetops, a scary noise from the woods that even Varun has to admit is strange enough to give pause. He gets a really bad feeling that says it wasn't paranormal, just afraid of a wild animal or something, and he gets out of there quickly. I think this brave explorer might be unwilling to admit that he just caught strange and scary evidence of paranormal EVPs caught on tape. He says this could be a monkey, but let me know if you agree. Here's another listen. It sounds like a ghost haunting the woods to me. Either way, ghost or animal, both possibilities sound terrifying. A possible ghost sighting in the Indian town of Kudail has left construction worker witnesses wondering what it was they saw walking around late at night. You can hear them talking about the figure when suddenly it lets out a loud scream that all of them hear over the construction equipment. This video is real, warns the uploader, who says that this was taken by his sister's friend at 2:30 in the morning. I'm not sure if I believe him or not, but if I lived in the area, I definitely wouldn't take the chance of walking around early in the morning and finding out. A man in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania encounters what he calls a zombie sighting when he sees a stationary figure stare at him without moving. Not even loud music or oncoming headlights are enough to make him step aside or respond. I'm pretty sure that this person has a major problem that they need to get help for, but this would still be beyond creepy to see late at night, especially considering the next driver might not be paying enough attention to swerve out of the way. A very sad situation indeed. This one's a lot more boo than peak. Published by Fun with SK in May of 2022 and originally published by YouTuber Simply Sareth, this scary video captured something creepy playing peekaboo around a corner. Sareth is outside this haunted home, his camera facing the front door, when his night vision footage captures this creepy creature peering around the doorway. What is this figure? It certainly looks human in size, but is it a ghost? Or is it just a living human being so super creepy? I think these are questions we'll never get the answers to. A Swedish YouTuber named Headgear, aka Daniel Olsen, has a paranormal corner of their home that always seems to be shuffling objects around. All Daniel has to do is set up a camera and wait. So everything from a phone to a baby monitor is making small movements one after the other. Most of the objects are already halfway off camera though, so therefore moving them wouldn't be that hard to fake. If that blue box moved in the back, I would be more convinced. Also, the fact that nothing on the top shelf moves makes me all the more suspicious. But hey, I guess the poltergeist could have just been interested in the bottom row. I wish he got more of the bottom area to show he wasn't moving stuff around himself. But to be fair, I think Daniel was also trying to get the mirror in the shot. Based on this next video I'm about to show you, at 5 seconds something smacks his camera, yet we see nothing in the mirror. Then this strange shadow makes barely discernible movements in the upper corner of the room, hardly visible unless you know where to look, and even then still fairly difficult to see. Jose Cruz is stuck at home in Arlington, Virginia, so he decides to take a random video of the rain. Only when looking at the video much later does he notice the ghost of a girl twisting in the wind for a brief moment before fading away. From what I understand, falling rain is one of the most difficult things to fake in terms of video editing, which makes me think the ghost sighting is real. The more times you look at it, the more it looks like she really does stop, consider him for a moment, and then goes on her way. I mean, wind or not, rain shouldn't move like that unless something is physically under it. When this couple gets caught trying to use a credit card that doesn't belong to them, the gas station attendant calls the police and makes the boyfriend stay. Meanwhile, the girl sneaks into the bathroom and, thinking fast, decides to climb into the ceiling to hide. Her plans fall through, however, when the flimsy ceiling tiles give and send her careening to the ground. Now, I can't show the fall here, but believe me when I say that she could have easily broken her neck here. She gets up dazed, but still able to walk out in cuffs on her own instead of a stretcher, so she's kind of lucky in that sense. Built in the 1800s, the historic Jefferson Hotel in Jefferson, Texas is haunted as can be. Every once in a while, it's not uncommon for a guest or two to complain about hearing voices at night or feeling a hand grazed by their cheek while dozing off. The owner of the hotel is doing some remodeling and walks past a door that suddenly opens all by itself. He says that the door was securely shut and that he actually heard it unlock before it opened. The scary CCTV video does in fact show him turning around a second before the door opens, so his story indeed checks out. But that's not even the scariest moments caught on camera by him. This is way worse. Creepy video of the same hallway on a different night depicts a dark shadow passing over the green door at the far end, a room where most of the activity takes place besides this hall, and when it does so, the lamp turns off on its own. Considering a jilted bride once took her life here, and the spirits of countless children are known to play tricks, this bizarre shadow person could be any of the usual suspects. I believe this ghost video's real simply based on the hotel's legendary haunted status alone. With videos this creepy, it's a wonder anyone would want to stay here for long, unless they were purposefully trying to get scared. A vaguely human shape stands on the other side of a sliding glass door without making a sound. The faint outline never tries to get in, just hangs around the door for a while only to walk away. Apparently, this has been repeatedly happening for the past month, but nothing has ever been on the other side. I wish they would have opened the door to prove that this wasn't a friend of theirs messing with them, but I understand why they wouldn't want to put themselves at risk. Besides, whatever this is, it doesn't really have much of a form, and I think I can see a smooth flat surface where the face should be. It hardly looks human. What on earth is this creature? Nair BR writes of this bizarre sighting on camera. This strange creature got caught up in strong winds and his wife was cleaning when it blew into the house. I was thinking it might be a territorial dispute between two insects, but as it unravels at 2 minutes and 25 seconds, it looks like one big creepy squirming oddity. The way it moves is unlike a snake or a worm or anything I've really seen before. It looks just as confused of us as we are of it, forming strange spiral shapes as it tumbles about, reaching out for something to grab onto. A host, perhaps. Whatever it is, it looks like something that crawls straight up your nose and takes over your brain. A parasite moving on to its next victim. Now that I've seen it, much like Nair BR, I want to know what on earth this creature is, and so I turn to you for an explanation. If something knocks on a door in an abandoned home, don't answer. Published by Indra Saputra Official in March of 2022, this ghost hunter is faced with something that wants in. When he opens the door, Indra finds an empty bathroom. After turning back to the rest of the room, he sees a shadow peeking up over a wall. It slowly pulls down out of sight.
Nggak ada apa-apa. Kita lanjut lagi. Itu apa, Cuk?
When Indra rounds the corner to look, nothing is there. Did the figure manage to creep out soundlessly? Or is Indra facing off with nothing but a shadow? A YouTuber named Muzamil Khan records his neighbor having an argument one floor up. Muzamil knows that there is only one person in the apartment, but somehow at least two voices are coming out of the same man. I didn't really hear what he was talking about until this part in particular. Listen to this and tell me if you hear multiple voices panting, breathing, and speaking at the same time. Muzamil keeps recording until his roommate wakes up and shuts the door. Later, he says the police eventually took his neighbor into custody, who by that time had removed his clothes and was acting even more possessed. It's hard to tell from this video whether this man was actually possessed or just under the influence of something, which still doesn't fully explain how numerous voices could come out of one person at the same time. A ghost has no use for a haircut, but apparently that doesn't stop one from haunting a famous barber shop called GQ Cuts in La Puente, California. Caught on security cam is a ghostly guest slipping under a blue gown.
That just moved. Like that just moved. Like that just moved. I'm not gonna break it. That right there just moved.
Everyone, even the woman getting her hair cut, is nervously looking at the chair, waiting for it to move again, which it doesn't. But hold on, nobody sees the scariest moment of all on the shelf above them.
That just moved. Like that just moved. Like that just moved. I'm not gonna break it.
A creepy mannequin head turns towards him while he tries to tell everyone what he saw. Thankfully, the moving objects were caught on tape to prove him right. Then again, it could be this fan on full speed that's blowing objects around. Two friends are just kidding around when one of them goes running up the steps laughing and smiling, probably to grab the camera, I guess. There's a pause as if the two of them see something, and then a scream that doesn't match their playful laughter seconds ago. Most people agree that she was just being silly and slipped, but others feel she was dragged down by something that was with them both. She doesn't scream as she falls, but it happens so fast that she might have been too surprised. A YouTuber from San Antonio, Texas, named Dylan James TV records a deep moan that fills the night sky. Take a listen and give me your best guess as to what this mysterious noise could be.
I hope you can hear that.
After a while, it grows closer and louder until the sound breaks directly overhead, yet nothing is visible. What's especially strange is the comments for this video. Other people from as far as Florida admittedly claim to have heard this exact same noise. Apparently it happens for 5 minutes at a time, at which point it stops as abruptly as it began. Anyone who's still in school has no doubt learned by now that remote learning is not very fun. However, every once in a while something will happen to liven up the lesson, or in this case, make it absolutely terrifying. This teacher has been cooped up all by himself for far too long and really doesn't seem to be enjoying his job or much of anything nowadays. To make things worse, the students keep playing a joke on him by saying that there is something watching him from behind. He knows that students like to mess with their teachers however they can, and so he tells them that it's just him and his dog living there and no one else. Little does he know how truly wrong he is.
Tanto el movimiento no existe, relacionado con lo que dice Raúl, el gato de... No me suena la tinga en alemán, pero en inglés.
Around the corner is the pale grim face of a ghost, half covered in shadows as it peers in from the dark hallway. I wonder if her other side is twisted and disfigured. We never get to see. In true paranormal fashion, the scary face dares not to enter the light and retreats before its discovery. The teacher goes on to explain that he just moved into this house, and so there's no way anyone is behind him.
Estoy con mi perro.
But once again, he is schooled by the supernatural.
Por ahí, en ocasiones, las llamadas paradojas. ¿Alguien sabe qué es una paradoja?
The door opens without anyone touching it, and as the girl retreats into the next room, his dog, who has been quiet this whole time, starts barking out like a stranger is near. It whimpers as he closes the door. The poor thing definitely doesn't want to be left alone. A father points a camera at his daughter's closet because she is afraid of something in her room. He was probably expecting for it to be nothing, but instead what he's caught on camera after midnight has left him shaken up as she is. She wakes up to a noise from the closet, and then a basketball falls out, half deflated like something had squeezed all the air out. You can clearly see the full closet, and it's not big enough for anyone to hide inside. If this wasn't paranormal, then I'm not sure how it was set up. A YouTuber named Chris Starr takes an electrometer to an antique store with Omar Gosh to check for signs of the paranormal. They find this creepy old marionette without a nose that seems responsive and eager to communicate.
Please let us know by touching my K2 meter. We really want to know if you have a story or not. Oh God.
So they buy it and run some experiments in the car, where a special spirit box is waiting to help translate. First of all, the marionette seems to react positively to being untangled and held properly. When they ask for its name, a female voice struggles with an answer that a male voice soon finishes. Then they hear some other creepy whispers that I can't understand, but I'm hoping maybe you will.
Can you tell me your name?
I'm not sure what to think, but the fact that this puppet responds to two different pieces of paranormal equipment makes me think that this has a greater chance of being real than not. If it is possessed by a spirit, then it could also be cursed, in which making this video could carry dire consequences. A YouTuber named Rocky Mills is doing some kitchen renovations when he thinks he hears movement coming from the basement of an otherwise empty home. He turns his camera on for legal reasons and goes to confront whoever or whatever is down there. The brave handyman gets no further than the mouth of the basement when he encounters something that makes him quickly change his mind. Hello? The door slams shut and somehow nobody is on the other side. When Rocky opens it exactly 2 seconds later, taking an angry tone with the intruder only seems to make things worse.
Who is it?
Rocky Mills runs for his life and drops the camera face up. Approximately 19 seconds later, we hear no approaching footsteps, and the camera gets kicked into a 360 by something on its way back downstairs. I guess when you're a spirit who wants everything to stay the same forever, a home remodeling project is a serious threat that must be ended then and there. A YouTuber named Shavir Joffrey has been hearing loud knocks and other strange noises at night, so he decides to half-jokingly ghost search around his house for fun. Nothing happens until he starts talking about what he is going to do to the ghost when he catches it. Do you think this is paranormal or just a friend off camera?
You know, any ghost that comes in, game over, my... Did you hear that? Did you...
Okay, so that might not be enough to convince you, but as soon as they crack more jokes, they hear a slight scraping noise, kind of like somebody breathing through a straw, and this time it is right by them. I think there's another part that they might have missed. Do you hear someone take a breath here?
And be like, I think...
A YouTuber named Cup Stewart lives on the cusp of the rainforest in Indonesia. Tonight he is investigating rumors of a small creature haunting the woods to see if it's real. He goes exploring where the creature was last seen and lays a trap. After a while, something with a white face and long hair comes out of the forest and lowers into the cage.
Nice, mantap.
Tuh, dia mau bawa kandang terbang tuh, cuman nggak bisa dia keberatan mobilnya tuh, Pain. Bisa bawa terbang kandang itu nggak? Soalnya dia kandang mau dibawa terbang nih, Pain. Tunggu aja lainnya, kita tunggu. Oke, ya.
From the woods approaches a tall figure, a man rumored to live isolated from the rest of the island. He subdues one of them, and while Cup Stewart is checking on the condition of his friend, the stranger lets his pet humanoid creature free from its cage and runs extremely fast out of sight. This video has over 8 million views and about half the people think it really happened. I honestly can't say I agree. For one, the creature pretty obviously looks like a puppet in my opinion. I think somebody wearing black is standing behind this cage and moving it around with their arms. They also put the camera really far away from the cage. Almost anyone would put the camera right up there. They keep it far away in my opinion because it probably looks too fake close up. The man running away looks kind of weird, but it could be sped up or special effects. Even though this video is fake in my opinion, I'm including this on the list because it's gone viral and deserves an honest analysis. Tell me if you think it has any possibility of being real. This abandoned prison castle was built in 1865 and was used to house all types of scary people. It was a transitory prison before sending prisoners to hard labor or exile. Now it apparently houses actual ghosts. Published by Toppy in November of 2021, these paranormal investigators went to visit the dark and mysterious place. Here is what they found. Outside, they walk around the wall where lives were ended. Then they head inside. The investigator notes that they say they've heard some coughing. Inside the cells, they listen but hear nothing. They come across strange windows, perhaps built for ventilation, lockable slots, likely to deliver food to the inmates, and a shower room. In one hallway, they find this figure, posed like a statue. We aren't sure what its story is, but it towers over the place like it's floating. At one point, a strange, unexplained noise is recorded as they're talking, and another sound is heard, like blowing on metal. They also hear a door bang at a distance. They say they feel like they're not alone here. Perhaps they aren't. But is their company alive or paranormal? Some run away from ghosts, others give chase. Posted to the very spooky video subreddit, this mysterious figure appeared on some railroad tracks, and these kids decided to follow it. In the scary video, the figure in white moves, swaying up ahead. As it tries to escape, the group of children that are following it, they get very close, but it moves faster along. They cross a bridge, but the figure still keeps ahead of them. At some point, many of the kids start crying, and the figure moves off the tracks and down a hill, where it vanishes in the darkness. Many in the comments are saying even if the figure isn't a ghost, it is creepy. And they don't trust it. Do you? I certainly don't. A YouTuber named The Great records a paranormal encounter that he has never been able to explain. His son jumps into the water at 8 seconds, and a pair of phantom hands reach up to push him on the side. It's not his dad because, aside from looking like the hands of a child, you can see his father watching in the background. It looks like it has to be another kid, but when his son points the camera at himself to smile, nobody is near. Everyone is on the other side of the pool, and that's where they've been the entire time. Also, consider this. The father would have stopped his son from jumping if there was another kid right in front of them. Both he and his son look as though they have a clear path ahead before taking the plunge. A YouTube channel called Kiwi in Japan has the creepy encounter of a lifetime that leaves everyone screaming with fear and excitement in the kitchen.
Oh, that is freaky. That is so scary. Oh, yuck.
With a bowl in one hand and a piece of paper in the other, he hatches a plan to cover the spider and slip the paper underneath to contain it. It doesn't end well.
You ready? Ah! Oh, sorry. Okay.
What is it?
At 1 minute and 14 seconds, the spider literally jumps out of the way and almost lands on his arm. He's wearing no gloves and a short sleeve shirt when it happens, meaning he's completely vulnerable. Fortunately, it's more interested in finding shelter than battling back. It's fast enough to evade him 3 more times, but with legs that long, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. After a final showdown in the closet, he apprehends the arachnid and sends it back on its way to nature with a final toss. I bet they're really glad to have gotten rid of it. I don't think I could still live someplace where I saw a spider take up a whole entire room of a corner before. At least not until it was taken out of the house, and I'm definitely not sure if I would have been brave enough to try and capture it. Talk about scary stuff. This girl hears a loud commotion in her sister's room and grows concerned. When she goes to check on her sibling, something huge hits the ground on the other side. Then the door to her sister's room seems to close all by itself.
Hello?
The scared girl tries to stand outside of the room for some time and simply listens. Finally, she musters enough courage to try again, and this is what she sees waiting for her. Her sister sits stiffly in bed staring ahead while creepy music plays from nowhere. Her room is completely wrecked and she does not respond or say anything at all. Well, I guess this video could be some sort of behavioral problem or even a prank. My gut instinct tells me that this was most likely a real possession. There's nothing scarier than a ghost who's out of his mind. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, Random Doge 47 explains, went to the Heartwood Insane Asylum in the UK and captured something. The mysterious video shows the creepy remains of the asylum, aged with decay. All of the windows are broken out, leaving gaping empty black holes, except for one window. Someone is standing in the top left window of the asylum, an asylum that's locked up tight.
Oh my somebody's head popping at the top of him. So it is? Oh my I need to go.
The Redditor writes that the lower windows are too high to climb into, and the upper floors are collapsed. So what is this figure, and how did it manage to get in? And if the floor really is collapsed, is it just hovering there? Some in the comments think it's an owl, others think it's a person experiencing homelessness, but most agree that it's something from which to flee, with Key Razmataz 1572 writing, "Feet don't fail me now." Agreed. Time to hoof it out of there. This live courtroom feed in Broward County, Florida proceeds normally for most of the day until approximately 1 hour and 42 minutes into the video. That's when an abrasive voice cuts into the quiet Monday morning courtroom with some kind of loud, heinous growl.
Sheriff of Broward County, no bond. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm getting ready to put some faith in you as a human being. All right.
Thank you.
I only give you one chance.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Strangely, no one seems to hear the noise at the time. It goes away for a while and then starts up again when the judge is setting bond for a different inmate. I want to say someone is dragging their chair across the floor, but it doesn't quite sound like that. Take a listen.
Right, so as far as count, I would just ask the court to put $1,000 bond on for the misdemeanor.
At no point does the judge call for quiet or ask what the noise is, so everyone must be either used to hearing it or maybe only the cameras can detect it. It's hard to say if this is a technical glitch with the audio or an actual spirit, but it's definitely creepy enough to share. So what do you think it is? These bizarre chittering noises, recorded in the middle of the woods at almost 3 a.m., were loud enough to rattle the glass of the window in its pain. Tell me if you can identify this creature, because the uploader is certain that this is a Skinwalker. I personally have no idea what a Skinwalker even sounds like, but if this person lives in the woods and has never heard anything like this before, then I have no reason to doubt them. A dad and a daughter are all smiles as they board an elevator. The ride is smooth and they look at themselves in the mirror for about 30 seconds, completely unaware of how unsafe they actually are. Minutes later, the empty elevator is ripping past floors with enough speed to shake the entire carriage. The door is slightly open and nothing is working properly as the lift slams into the roof hard enough to dislodge panels and light fixtures. Thankfully, no passengers were on board, but had the two from earlier still been inside, it would have been a daddy-daughter demise for certain. I can only wonder how many times something like this has almost happened to you or me without realizing. This home surveillance video shows a round transparent object dart across someone's front yard. It starts from a walkway and then goes down a hill towards the house, perhaps looking for a way inside. Meanwhile, whatever this is supposed to be glares at the camera without moving, and when I zoom in, I think those might be horns. A YouTube channel called DIY.com decides to do some paranormal investigating at a haunted place in San Francisco called Stowe Lake. They're exploring for a while when this creepy statue comes at them from the darkness. Soon they notice that his camera seems to skip frames, or twitch as he calls it. Watch the frames skip whenever he passes over their faces.
Faster. Well, you see how it twitches?
Yeah.
The camera?
Uh-huh.
Did you see that?
Uh-huh.
Can you guys do that again? See? It twitches.
Twitches, yeah.
I couldn't really see what they were talking about until they addressed one of the children directly. That's when you can see a major frame loss that's scary enough to make one of them run away screaming.
Little girl. Ooh, you see that?
You can see it again in slow motion. Freaky, right? When Joey Salvatore and his friends learn that their entire neighborhood is rumored to be haunted, they go to the local cemetery and try to get something on tape. They don't really find much and eventually come back home, but it looks like something found them and managed to attach itself to a friend named Roger. Now he is standing motionless with his back to them in a dark room, and they are too freaked out to do anything more than secretly record his reflection in a mirror. After a while, he sits down and stops moving completely, so they decide to put Roger in his room and check on him later. Roger is nowhere to be found, at least not at first.
What's going on?
What the f? Roger! I'm done.
They are totally freaking out when Roger comes wandering back into the room completely fine, wondering what had happened. The group feels unsafe at this point and has no choice but to send Roger on his way. Eventually, Roger says that he was just playing a joke on them, but it's unclear if he really means it or if he is just in denial. This group of friends decides to go into an old middle school that's rumored to be haunted. The building has only recently been abandoned, and it's still in relatively good condition, so there's not much to say until they come to one section of the school that's much darker and filled with mold. The group still feels safe in their large numbers down here, and they bravely trudge through a series of musty hallways. They don't see anything out of the ordinary, but when they put the video on YouTube later, somebody points out a possible shadow figure in the distance during this part in particular. I personally think that it could just be stacked debris, but then again, I can somewhat make out the faint outline of a shadow that's roughly the size of a child. The more I look at it, the more I can notice its legs and head in particular. Let me know if you agree, or if you think I'm looking into the situation too deeply. This moment is now infamous in the streaming community, and has been talked about years ago on Top 15s, but for those who weren't aware, Zillion OP, who streamed on Twitch, appeared to be paraplegic, and enabled his viewers to donate money to him. But in April 2013, generous donors and viewers alike got the shock of their lives when this gamer stood from his wheelchair, likely forgetting that he was streaming. Most had believed the gamer to be completely immobile, according to what they'd seen on prior streams. Needless to say, viewers turned on him and were rightfully angry about being misled. Zillion's girlfriend can be heard in the video when she realizes and begins rambling with a random story about taking their dogs to the fish shop, whatever that is.
Our dog, oh my god, we took our dog, like to the fish shop today.
She continues talking as somebody, likely Zillion, turns the camera downward. Both Zillion OP and his girlfriend had their accounts closed for violating Twitch's terms of service. When the website Kotaku requested a statement from Twitch, they went on to say that subscribers would be given refunds. While on a dirt road leading to a graveyard, this ghost hunter was hunted. Published by Scary and Mysterious Stuff in October of 2021, he casts his flashlight around in the trees while walking through the darkness. After a while, he starts hearing strange noises. Is that a cacophony of animals or something else? As the ghost hunter continues, he rounds a tree to see this robed figure standing not far off. The figure is very still and seems to have a light cast on its face. The ghost hunter doesn't stick around a second longer. He takes off running. Did he narrowly escape this horrific fate? Was he about to become a sacrifice? I think he may have walked right into a scary ritual. A YouTuber named Dillionaire Vlogs is trying his hardest to summon a ghost, and he won't take no for an answer. First, he tries to command the supernatural by force, then he makes fun of them and does whatever else he can think of to get any kind of reaction.
Where the demons at, man?
This was taken in 2017 during Irma, and Dillionaire hopes that the electrified atmosphere will somehow help the spirit world connect with his own. Apparently it works. The camera falls over by itself, and a voice that sounds like Dillionaire clearly says, "I'm here."
Hello? Anyone here?
Dillionaire claims that he was possessed during this part, and made to say this against his will, though I'm not so sure about that. Then again, 134 people lost their lives during Irma, so it wouldn't really surprise me if one of them really did use his body as a conduit to say hello. A Twitter user named Kazuki Sake is visiting a graveyard in Japan when he claims this pebble broke off a statue and went into a frenzy. Try and translate this part into English if you can.
いやだって今石だったんだべ。手でね、多分持ったやつ。
軽石みたいな。
すごいね。
So what do you think is going on here? This could be an actual ghost, CGI, or maybe even just a pebble on a string. Pete Privy is perfectly piloting a drone in the parking lot, at least until the time comes to land. His friend is demonstrating how to grab one out of midair, but he turns around while talking, and a propeller socks him right in the eye. At 10 seconds in, you can see his friend grab his face and then stumble away in surprise. Someone hurries closely behind, ready to catch him if he passes out from the blow, and the video ends. This picture shows how closely Pete's friend came to losing an eye. I think a hit any higher would have cost him his sight. As Pete says, the moral of the story is that caution is always required around drones, so never let your guard down unless you want to look like this. This security camera caught some very unsettling footage, published by Blah Blah in March of 2020. A camera monitoring a baby captured what looks like a near taking by a demon. The baby is being pulled backward by something invisible, prompting some in the comments to believe that demons are afoot. At the start of the video, the infant is tossing and turning on a mattress on the floor. The clip cuts, and she is later seen on the floor, having somehow made it off of the mattress. It's unclear if the baby was moved there by force or of her own volition. As she cries, it appears as though one of her legs is being pulled, and she inches slowly backward. She doesn't appear to be in control of her movement. As she is pulled, she continues to cry, when at last she is yanked out of view. What is reeling this poor child in? Is it a demon fishing for fresh souls or some other bad entity? Heads up, it's watching. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Nimrose. Something demonic is peeking out from behind this tree. A woman is walking down a forest path at night in Sweden, but she doesn't notice that she's not alone. Look to the right of the tree. A creepy long-haired demon-like figure peeks out for a split second before hiding itself again. I'm surprised it didn't snatch her when she walked past. Some in the comments are saying it was Krampus, the terrifying horned Christmas demon from European folklore. Others think it's a person in a mask. Still, others are more distracted by the eyes that pop out at the base of the tree at nearly the same time as the demon. Well, that can be explained away as a raccoon or other animal. What about the demon person? Any theories? Warning, if you buy this flat, you'll have an unwanted roommate. Published by Seeker of Ghosts in April of 2022. The paranormal investigator is trying to communicate with the passed on through a spirit box when this happens.
Oh.
The spirit then sends him a clear message, but he doesn't listen.
Что?
So the poltergeist tries to warn him further. The lights continue to flicker as the spirit box goes haywire.
В тот момент мне стало очень страшно.
Then he asks what the spirit's name is to no avail. Rather than answer, the spirit gets angrier. He apparently doesn't like anyone prying into his personal life. He even comes to visit.
Ой, чтоб меня опять сейчас что-то не полетело.
Did this paranormal investigator overstay his welcome? It seems he was never welcome here at all. Every child has an imaginary friend, but this one is not so imaginary. Posted to TikTok by elkakoy.tv, a father enters his daughter's room around 7 p.m. as she laughs uncontrollably with someone. As the father rounds the corner, he says his daughter's name. Then he spots this figure peering out from behind her. He rushes over to find no one there, and his daughter looks as though she's in a trance that he can't shake her out of. What is going on here? While many in the comments admit this is too creepy, commenter xgamermamax sums up my feelings. She writes, "Well, I won't be sleeping today."
Hey, me. Hey, me.
A man is happily gaming at a busy internet cafe when this scary moment happens. He is able to partially sit up again with some assistance, but something in his mind has apparently snapped. I guess this could either be exhaustion, or maybe even reacting to seeing too many flashing colors at once. I just thought it was scary because it happens out of nowhere. This PlayStation 4 keeps restarting all by itself and makes a creepy noise at the end of the video that it didn't make at all before. I know a lot of you already know what a PS4 turning on sounds like. I just thought it was weird because mine has never made that noise, but maybe yours has. I see this is a special edition console, so maybe that's why. A YouTuber named the Spyro Gamer has a mysterious problem with his PS4 controller that I don't think is covered by the warranty. The unexplained video begins with him turning the controller on, and the light on the top remains solid like normal, but whenever he passes by this area of his room,
is in my cabinet, so if I go over here, and there, look, see? See that?
the controller flashes in a mysterious way and then turns off. No matter what he does, the controller refuses to stay on in the closet. Keep in mind it was able to stay on normally when he was on his bed, so the controller appears to be set up properly and not broken. The unexplained video starts to make a little more sense when you consider ghosts supposedly can disrupt electronic equipment, and that's when the ghost stops trying to hide.
I think it's gone. Yeah. Oh. Oh.
He feels something walk by, the controller turns off, and then the door slams. Freaky, right? A YouTuber named Vintango says his Xbox might be possessed by a ghost, and a bunch of people in the comments are backing him up. It's opening and closing at random like crazy, and then all of a sudden it stops like it's thinking about something. When it starts up again, one commenter says that it kind of sounds like the ghost is trying to make the Xbox say "help me." This video is from 2009, so the console was already up to 8 years old and possibly breaking down. Spirits try to communicate with all sorts of other electronic devices, so I guess an old Xbox is as good as anything. Blurry Faces is a YouTuber exploring two mysterious schools standing next to each other. They were both built around World War II and have been abandoned for a long time. Everything starts out normal until Blurry Faces is exploring an upstairs room full of classroom furniture. After that, something seems to be stalking them at every turn. The strange banging noises only grow louder and more persistent as time wears on. I will give them credit for being courageous and sticking around for so long. This is the event that finally makes them lose their composure and scramble. This time Blurry Faces bravely tests the weight of the door himself and finds that it's way too heavy to swing open with such ease. You can tell he is putting a lot more effort into opening and closing the door than whatever just opened it moments earlier. Tell me what's written in Spanish across the door and if it has any significance to what could be possibly lurking inside. A TikTok user named Look Desions For You is obsessed with summoning spirits, and this time it really might have worked. He says something in the mirror, and then this wide-eyed fiend appears right behind him, only to vanish when he turns around. At first it looks like it might have been somebody standing on the other side of the mirror, but when the light hits them, you can tell they are both in the same room. Later, he is looking down a hall through a hole in the door, where the knob once was. I want you to remember the unique shape of this water pattern, because it is going to be important later. Okay, so he is looking down the hall. A second look through the hole reveals nothing, and when he turns around, he is shocked to find he is in the exact same hall he was just looking down. Water pattern and all, it's like he teleported. This girl is surrounded by a group of worried elders after school. She is rumored to somehow become possessed by a demonic spirit during class. This happened somewhere in Myanmar, a nation in Southeastern Asia that's close to Thailand and Nepal. Tell me what you think she is being shown on the phone during this part, and what she is saying in response. At one point, she is surrounded by people chanting prayers as she convulses and screams. According to the description of this video, she was later taken to a local monastery where she was managed to recover from whatever it was that was causing her to act like this. Whether her source of anguish was supernatural or of her own delusional manifestation is a question I'll leave you to answer. A security guard is patrolling the San Francisco College campus when he catches a glimpse of an all-black figure moving fast. He quickly rounds the corner and finds absolutely nothing there. Notice how the silhouette is traveling in a straight line at a high rate of speed and has no time to run up the steps or to hide on the right before the security guard catches up with it. I don't see any jump cut editing either, so I think this could really be an actual ghost. A YouTuber named Bat Chain Puller says they were watching Game of Thrones when they noticed this little girl staring into their home with a blank expression. She does not seem to be trying to get anyone's attention and seems perfectly content with staring straight ahead into a stranger's home on Christmas, judging by the decorated tree. The YouTuber says that there is an explanation for this video, but doesn't go into any more detail. Maybe they will still remember what happened all these years later. Thank you so much for getting me to 10,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 20,000 subscribers next. Thank you.